Good evening and welcome to a new trade idea here for KBR. This will be my next home run attempt via long calls. I am currently in shares. I'll also entertain a position in July calls once they become available. I currently have shares from 2085, so I did buy in quite a bit lower than where share price is now, just in the last 2 weeks, as well as a couple of small swing trades in calls. A lot of things have come into alignment to really build my conviction and confidence up in this trade. First of all, the catalyst for this trade was announced on Friday, April 12th, and the resulting price action came out on Monday, April 15th, or at least began that day, which I'll get to momentarily. This is as a result of the LogCap 5 announcement, which is an $82 billion defense contract. This was awarded to 3 companies in support of our military operations overseas. They were officially awarded to Fluor, FLR, KBR, and Vectrus, VEC. That following Monday, the 15th, I alerted the trade crew team I was buying shares at 2085, which subsequently filled later in that morning. Now, the catalyst for the trade, as I said, $82 billion. Now, that's up to $82 billion over the next 10 years, which is going to be split among 3 companies. The majority of that is going to the Afghanistan portion of this contract, which is what KBR actually won. Okay, so now on to some of the financial impacts. First of all, the more interesting move was in Vectrus, which if I pull up that here on the chart, first of all, there's a huge move. This thing went from 29 a share to 40 that day. And you can see as a big bull flag moved up. And of course, in hindsight, this was the better name to trade. Earnings are coming up, so they're probably going to have some guidance, and maybe I can trade the reaction after that. We'll see. It doesn't really trade too many shares, so this is not the most liquid name to be trading, but a very nice move there. So that one instantly spiked up. Now, the 2 main competitors on this contract were Fluor and KBR, which I'm going to get to momentarily. They didn't really do too much on the day of earnings. But what's interesting here is the impact that Vectrus is going to receive. They basically are being awarded $1.4 billion just for this year. This is just to get started on the log cap contract. Now, $1.4 billion when their 2018 revenue was only 1.27, or roughly $1.3 billion. They're increasing their revenue more than 100%. As a result, share prices are now up 40%. So, a very nice move. Share price is following along with that fundamental development. And at this point, once that move was made and I was watching KBR, I was watching Fluor, nothing was really happening. KBR started to climb a little bit, and then Fluor was just going sideways. So I did not do the research into the negative impacts on the share price for Fluor or the fundamentals for Fluor. I just knew this was going to be a negative impact for them. So over the next couple of days, they actually climbed up, I think, a point and a half. But because I knew this was going to be a negative impact to Fluor, I was waiting for my opportunity. Pull up their chart here. Now, once this award was announced, the losing contractor or any other contractor involved that doesn't feel it was fair or they feel they can renegotiate, there is a period of 100 days where they can appeal that decision, which we are now in. So Fluor has appealed, waiting to hear the word on that. So once that occurred and we were still going sideways, I was telling myself, maybe this is going to take some time. So this was the day of the award. This was the resulting price action. Finally got a breakdown on the 25th, which was not too long ago. And then I started to see we were going to have a breakdown. So knowing that, or at least believing that it was very highly unlikely that Fluor is going to be uh, provided a win for the appeal, and they were going to get Afghanistan back, I just highly doubt that they're going to get it back from the government. So I was waiting for price action to confirm that I was right, and we were going to get a huge drop. Now, I originally had this price target down here around 28 and a half. This is from the monthly and weekly time frame. There's a bear flag measure move down to the low 20s, which I may or may not trade for because this has already been a pretty awesome trade. On the 30th, which was this green hammer bar right here, I was telling the trade crew guys, hey, I'm buying July 30 puts. I believe this is going to go down. This is why, same reasons I just mentioned. Earnings may be the catalyst. I didn't expect a huge move, but I did expect a move to confirm a break of this trend and maybe come down to 36, 35 area. Well, within 2 days, these puts went $2 in the money, and some of them maxed out at $3. So there's a tremendous trading opportunity there. Um, More importantly than the profits that were made on that put trade, this essentially gives me more confirmation that KBR is going to be the overall winner of this LogCap 5 contract. So now on to their numbers. They are being awarded between all three of these $1.95 billion. Now that is going to be roughly a 40% increase in their year-over-year revenues from 2018. Now that's just to get started. They are going to be the prime contractor, so the majority of that award is going to go to KBR for their sustainment operations in Afghanistan. Now, also pull up the not earnings reports, but the analyst reports here in TD Ameritrade. Some of them good, some of them bad. Price ranges anywhere from 21, 22, 25, and one of them at 18. So a lot of this information is not priced in, even though it has recently received some upgrades from a few other analysts. Now, once this information is priced in, I believe there's still plenty of catalysts for this to move higher. Excuse me. The CEO actually specifically stated in the conference call the result of LogCap 5 earnings or revenues, excuse me, has not been accounted for in 2019's guidance. So once this 100 days I already mentioned is over with, then they can provide that guidance and say, okay, now we expect to earn 2, 3, 4 times as much as what we originally announced because of the LogCap 5. So right now, I think there's a lot of positioning for that. That announcement should be able to come out in July, which is their next earnings. So while I am in June calls, I'm also going to be looking at taking July calls once they are available, and September calls as well, because I want to be after that announcement date. I believe with the way price action goes, it's probably going to ramp up into that announcement. It will get a pullback after that announcement and a buying opportunity into 2020. So right now, that's just a little bit of thinking out in advance, and plenty of opportunities to go ahead and make a move higher. So onto the technical chart here for KBR. I do have some older notes on the higher time frame, but real quick, now if you're a short-term trader, this is a very extended move and not something that I would personally be trying to get into and out of for a day or two, because of the nature of this kind of trade. This is a changing fundamentals trade. This is a huge positive catalyst for the stock and for the company. This is going to have to be a longer term type of idea. So even the daily time frame here doesn't really apply to this trade. What happens on a 5-minute, a 15-minute, 30-minute basis, I really don't care about. What I care about is the direction of price and how strong it's moving up. You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks straight up right now. This is an institutional trend. This is big money pushing it up. There's going to be a tremendous opportunity. By the end of this year, I think we could see $28 to $30 a share, which, that's only a 20-25% move from where we're at right now. But still, that's positive changing fundamental trade with high conviction behind it. I don't see any reason we wouldn't be we would not test $30 by the end of this year. And as I zoom out here, it's much more evident that we're breaking out of a huge multi-year, 4-year base right here. So while I think we're going to hit $28 to $30 by the end of the year, we could even be up to 35, 36. That's my target for the end of 2020. Now this is a 10-year contract for KBR, so it's going to be a huge boost to them. Not only that, but it is going to open up the door for more more contracts they can bid on. Just using the CEO's words, they're not looking at this contract as a huge boost, but they're looking at more so as the opportunity for more contracts. So while this is still a 40% increase to their revenues, this is opening up the possibility for many more contracts going forward, because after the whole debacle in Iraq, you have to do your own research on that. They really need to build up their confidence back in the U.S. government. So for right now, there's a positive fundamental catalyst. Price action is agreeing that it's positive, and on a weekly and daily basis, or at least the weekly basis, looks like an institutional trend that is continuing to climb. On a daily time frame, any pullbacks to the 8 EMA I will buy. If I'm so lucky as to be able to buy below $22 right here, I will gladly load up the truck, the boat, and the garage, and carry my shares all the way to the bank. So I'll be looking for roughly a 50 to 60% increase by the end of 2020. So we'll see what happens with this going forward. Feel free to follow along. It's not something I'll provide a lot of updates on. However, if you want to join me at the Trade Crew chat room, I'll be happy to discuss this as it develops and unfolds. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. Have a good weekend and good luck on Monday.